So I get this question all the time. How do you manage a self-storage facility from a distance? With a lot of our consulting clients, they ask like, do I need to buy a storage facility that's in my backyard? And oftentimes I tell them, you really don't. And sometimes it's easier to show than to tell.
Alright, so we've officially made it to Oklahoma City. We're like, I don't know, 2-hour drive, 2.5-hour drive. So we had to rent a car to get to our storage facility, which has just been an exciting task. So, more about that very shortly. Let's get into our fancy free upgrade Hyundai Kia Elantra. I have no idea. Oh my God. Good dog. All right, made it to Oklahoma City. It is freaky deaky cold. I left Atlanta, Georgia. It was like 65, 70. Yesterday I was playing golf in shorts, and today it's 31 degrees in Oklahoma City. So let's hit the road and get to our hotel, and I'll definitely explain more there.
All right, so there's a couple things to consider when you're buying an out-of-state, a long-distance investment property. And a couple things that I had to think about was the infrastructure, the overall infrastructure of the area. And the reason why I say that is because how am I going to get to the property? When we first moved to Georgia, I bought a storage facility about 4.5 hours away from our house. And I knew that I could just drive there. It would take me all day and it would be a long journey. But I could literally drive down to the property, turn around and drive home in one day. And that was something that we had to consider. Now, when we bought the storage facility in Oklahoma, the infrastructure we had to think about. We couldn't just drive there in one day. It would take us 14 plus hours. So we got a long drive. We started our journey yesterday in South Georgia, headed through Florida, checked out a storage facility in Alabama, and then headed over to the middle of Mississippi as we make our journey to Arkansas, and then our final destination of Northeast Oklahoma, about an hour near Tulsa. Crossing multiple time zones, and it would be a very long journey, especially in a car. Now, when you're looking at those properties, you got to think about that. And the reason why I say that is because are you going to have to get there by airplane, car, horse and buggy? You know, are you going to have to hike to the property? Like, what does the infrastructure look like? So we felt really confident in the property because there were 3 big airports. The Bentonville Airport, which is like the home of Walmart. You've got Tulsa International Airport, and then you've got Oklahoma City, which I flew into yesterday because, well, to fly into Bentonville or Tulsa was like 5 times the price because of the Christmas holiday. So I just flew into Oklahoma City, rented a car, because I don't mind really driving that much. So when you're looking at these properties, consider that. That is a huge part of it. And also to consider like what's around the area. Are you going to be able to get like tools? Like, is there a hardware store? Is there building supplies? Is there a dumpster? Is there a trash? Is there a county waste area that you can, when units need to be cleaned out and the old junky stuff that someone left behind is going to have to take into the dump. Is there a place to do that? So really look at the infrastructure. But also a third thing that I think most people don't think about, is it an area that you want to actually visit? Now, making money is great. Providing a service to our self-storage customers in small towns across the United States is definitely super important. And that's probably the most important thing. But the thing that I have to consider is also like, am I incentivized to go visit the property? If the property's down the street from me, it's super easy, right? You can check on things, you can run out there, clean up a unit, you can overlock someone, you can do all the things that you need to do when you're down the street. Now, if you're 4 hours away or if you're 2.5 hour plane ride away, is it a place that you're gonna wanna visit? And you know what? Our Langley Lockup Storage facility is a place that I like to visit. It sits right next to a big giant lake. It's got a giant it's It's got a giant like Razor and ATV park that's got thousands of acres of trails to ride on. They've got great running trails that you can like actually like do like mountain type running. The town is incredible. The area is just kind of fun. It's a cool area. It's a cool area to be. But also another passion of mine is golf, and they've got like a bunch of golf resorts like within like 20 to an hour, away. So it's something where I actually want to visit the place, which makes me, brings me back to that community, which I think is important. So let's jump in the car, let's go to the facility, and let's check it out because we haven't been there in a while. All right, so there's a couple, so I get this question all the time, like how do we find these deals across the country? And there's a couple different sites that are really good. Crexi and LoopNet are both like commercial real estate sites. They're very similar to like Zillow or Realtor.com, but it's for commercial property. So that's another search engine that we use. Those are typically pretty high-end stuff. Those are, pretty expensive. So we have found deals also on like local realtor websites, from like Zillow to Realtor.com, but also even like higher concentrated than that. So I'll reach out to local realtors in the areas that I want to invest in, because a lot of the residential realtors will also deal with commercial, especially in some small towns. But another resource that most people overlook, and they always get shocked when I say this, but I've joined all these Facebook groups on people buying and selling self-storage facilities, and it's usually off-market deals. And the last 3 deals that we've actually acquired, my buddy sent them to me through these Facebook groups. So, and you reach out to this, to the sellers, and they're usually the owners, and you go down and you do all the due diligence, and most of the time you don't use a realtor at all, so which is kind of wild, but it's totally doable. So, but pretty interesting. So that's how we found deals in the past, and that's how we found this deal out here in Oklahoma. It was actually through a Facebook group that we got connected with, and turned out to be a good deal for us. So those are a couple ways that you can find deals. Search things online from the comfort of your own home. The other way is just getting out and driving, like calling facilities. Like every time we're on a road trip like this, if I see a property that looks interesting or in a good area, I'll just call the number on the billboard or call the number on their website or their Google My Business, and just have a conversation with them. I try not to be like, do you want to sell your property right now? No, I won't do that. But what I will do is just say, hey, like I'm also an investor in the area. At the end of the conversation, I'm like, hey, if you're ever interested in selling, like, keep my number down. I'd love to have a conversation about it. And usually they'll be like, nah, I don't ever plan on selling. Or, they might be like, yeah, I've been thinking about it, and possibly in 3 to 4 or 5 years or in 6 months, I might consider selling. And you'd be shocked on what owners will tell you. They'll tell you a lot. So, which is, key. You ask the questions, and, have that awkward conversation about, wanting to talk about their storage unit. So anyways, so we're about 6 minutes away from the property. Pretty excited to be back. Haven't been here in a while, so it's absolutely beautiful, except it's 23 degrees. So let's go see what the property looks like. All right, so we made it down to our Langley lockup storage here in Langley, Oklahoma. We painted this building over I want to say 13, 14 months ago, and the paint job is actually looking really good. My team, Caitlin and Chase, my family, we did a good job.
We had a couple units that we needed to clean out. I could have called our lawn guy to have it do it, but I needed to come down here anyways. We got a couple units that we need to auction off, but also we got to get our business license. But the property itself looks really good. And in the future, we're actually going to be, probably in the next like 3-4 months, we're going to be adding 27 by 20 foot units on this additional lot that we purchased next to this house. And so the property itself looks really good. I'm happy with the way the paint's held up, happy the way the doors held up. And I always recommend, like, if you're gonna be a long distance investor, you do need to put eyes on the property. I know you can add cameras, you can have boots on the ground, but really, like, if you care about the community, your facility, because your standard is always gonna be a little bit higher than everyone else's because it's yours. At least that's my thought process. So yeah, you got to show up and you got to check things out, make sure everything's working, make sure all the systems and processes are working properly, and the people that you are paying to do their job, you got to make sure they're doing their job. And if they're doing their job, well, we'll reward them for doing it. So everything looks really good. I was a bit nervous, to be honest with you. I'm always nervous because, you know, if this property was in our backyard and this was our house, like, it would be easy to keep things like really tight, you know, like keep everything, you know, operating, and having faith in other people. Sometimes it's very hard for me, but I'm happy with the way the property looks. Now we got to go and we got to go pay for our business license for 2026, but also we have to, I got to get I forgot a tape measure. I gotta get some like combination locks, a couple things for the property to keep things operational. So when I leave for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, we're setting ourselves up for success. So we leave free disc locks inside the units. We secure them with our security tabs so that we don't have to be here. We don't have to meet anyone here at the property for them to be able to rent the units, which I think is key. I did have to cut one lock off. It was my own because I forgot the keys to my own darn lock. So that's the way it goes. So let's go do the things in town that we need to do, and then we'll come back and take care of the rest of the stuff. So great news, we got most of our stuff done, which is great. We've cleaned out the units, checking on the place multiple times. I think we've got a unit rented, but we got our business license taken care of. We got a tape measure to be able to measure the new units that are going to be going in. Talk to the city. They're excited about the new units, which is great. But I wanted to show you the units. So this is our small unit. This is the unit that is the most difficult to rent. Probably because it's a 6 by 10. It's a pretty good sized unit. It's just, the real issue is this door. This door literally opens inwards and causes all kinds of problems, but not like big problems. It's just, there's just a lot less room to actually store your stuff, if that makes sense. But this is what we got to deal with. But so we might discount these units and make them a little bit more affordable. But then we do have our 10 by 12 units. We have 2 currently available, which is awesome. But right here, this is where all the 7 by 7 by 20 units are gonna go. Talked to the city, they said you gotta have 12.5 feet to be able to allow a fire truck to get down, which I'm gonna measure all that out here in a second, but it should be good to go. But this is our 10 by 12 unit, super big. I mean, look at this thing. It's freaking absolutely ginormous. It's absolutely ginormous in here. People can store all kinds of stuff. This is our most popular unit. We have some 10 by 24 units, but they're all rented. And the reason why they're all rented is because the previous owner decided to rent them for $45. And it's like $100, like $90 cheaper than anywhere else in town. So that's the way it goes. But All right, we just finished up all of the tasks at the storage unit. It was an incredible day. We checked a lot of boxes, and that's one of the things that you need to do when you're managing a property from a distance. You got to have a plan before you get there, and you got to execute. And it's one of those things that if you set up your facility properly, you've got the right people, in place, and it can be something as simple as like a neighbor, your lawn care guy. You kick him an extra few bucks to be able to check on the property and just take care of the little things like pick up the trash or clean out a unit, verify when someone has moved out. It's really that simple, and you really shouldn't be that scared of investing at a distance, especially with self-storage. If it was a single family duplex that you were managing yourself, I could definitely see you need to be relatively close. But the great thing about storage is there's no toilets, there's no plumbing at our facilities, there's no electricity, there's none of those headaches that you might have with residential real estate or even some commercial real estate like an apartment complex where you have to have some of that infrastructure in place. My biggest takeaway from not being at this property in 13 months is, to be honest with you, just missing the community. Going into City Hall and like having a conversation with the clerks and just shucking and jiving and having a conversation and building that relationship in the community. And that's the one thing that I definitely miss, and I'll probably do a better job of coming to this facility every 3 or 4 months. And if there's a serious problem, then I'll book a flight and I'll be there. And that's another thing that I think needs to be considered is in the self-storage world, there really isn't that big of an emergency. Someone's, if a hurricane or a tornado, knock on wood, none of that crap happens, or a fire, like it's a storage unit, it's not someone's home. And it's something that, the emergency might be a really big deal for your tenant, but at the end of the day, like it can wait. It truly can wait. And it's something that you don't need to be present every single day, every single week, every single month. You can definitely wait. And it's something that I would think about, making sure that the infrastructure is there so that you do have the ability to get there within a day or two. If something popped off that I needed to be at the storage facility within a couple days, yeah, I could book a last minute flight and rent a car and drive up here. It's not that big of a deal. We're within, an hour of an international airport, especially with Bentonville and Walmart. That airport is, as little as it is, they fly everywhere. So it's something to consider. So hopefully you've enjoyed this process of, seeing how it is, operating a storage facility from a distance. I wouldn't be scared of it, but you definitely have to have some systems in place. If this video has helped you at all, make sure you like and subscribe to it. If you do want some help, one-on-one help, I do offer a service. I get these phone calls all the time, and my wife's like, you need to charge people. So that's what I'm doing now. If you want some one-on-one help, some personal help with an individual case or an individual situation, I do have a link below where you can schedule a phone call with me. It can last an hour or a couple hours. There's a fee associated with it. And I think the fee, to be honest with you, is it kind of discourages the people that aren't serious about this. Everyone wants to invest in storage. Everyone wants to have these properties, but they're not willing to do the work or invest the money or invest, in the education. It took me, 6-9 months of really learning from other people before I made that step. And, the fee is there is to encourage you to invest not only in yourself, but in your future. Self-storage has literally changed my life. And it changed my life within like 6 months. Like my wife was able to quit her job. We were able to essentially retire and travel the world because of self-storage. And if you see any value to that and you want to have a phone call with me, please schedule it below. But if you just enjoy this content and you want to enjoy the free stuff that I'm giving out, consider subscribing. So until then, we'll see you next time. And leave a comment below. Maybe there's something else I missed or a topic you want me to cover. So until next time, cheers. Welcome to Langley Lux. Get that crap out of your house and get it in mine. Store it in my garage, okay?